Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at a fairly uncommon, extremely uncommon in my experience, variant of an LCN closer. I don't know how a Legion does it, so to speak, when it comes absolutely to all of their companies, but in LCN, if there is an application that requires a specific piece of hardware, or maybe a specific piece of hardware that's been modified in some way, or maybe a specific piece of hardware that needs to have some modified components, they'll have an ST or a special template. I know that there has been, recently I did a special template application that didn't require anything special, but this special template contained additional clarifying information. So it was a stock piece of equipment. You know what it was? It was a track closer, but we were mounting the material in an unusual fashion. There may have been a reveal on a pull side application, which the body was on the header, the track was on the face of the door. It was a pull side, but there was a reveal. The door was inset, and that special template basically said, okay, we don't have in our catalog this closer application, but you take a 4110 and turn it over, or you use a 40, I don't recall what it was, a 4020 track, and you flip that over, but then you use the part from the 40. Don't quote me, I don't recall what it was. So there wasn't any modified equipment that was required, but it was taking standard products and using them together in a way that's not published. So that special template. Now, in this case, was the third of what I had said, where you've got a standard piece of equipment, in this case a 4111 CNS, but this requires some modified equipment to come along with it. Pretty cool, actually. So an ST2480, this is a 4111. Arch door requires closer and shoe plates. Needs standard spec screw pack, through bolt with machine screws. So the modified equipment, that is the manufactured parts for this, are here. A drop plate is what it is. This closer with the bracketing weighs 21.95 pounds. So this happens to be a right-hand application, or, a left-hand reverse door. So we've got this big giant plate. Now the ST2480 is for an absolute specific application. It's for a door that has this sort of radius on the arch. Okay. I don't know what that dimension is. When the client ordered the ST2480, he didn't know what it was. This is a college that could be 150 years old, if not older. I'd have to look it up, in New England. And it's probably 200 years old. And they've done this over the decades in the past on these openings. So when this building was built, these were the arches that were created. The engineer at the college knows the ST2480 is the right template to use, even though it was 3 predecessors earlier that was probably initially ordering these. So this video is just to show you what all this bracketing looks like for this arch door. And why would you need this bracketing for an arch door? Well, if you just, in your mind's eye, think about an arch top door or a radius top door, those are problematic for door closers. Those are problematic for hinges as well, because there's no linear shapes or sides to install a traditional parallel arm mount closer. Now, you can use a corner bracket, and you can mount that to the jamb and then use a closer with what would kind of look like a top jamb mount. But that's not what this client is doing. The advantage of the special template 2480 is that it gets the closer up near the header, and I don't know how tall these doors are, but when you do a corner bracket, it does encroach into the space, and that could be problematic for clear opening requirements, as called out in your NFPA 101 document. It's problematic for hinges as well, because you've got a door, and you can run that hinge up close to the top of the door. Not so in an arch top, because a lot of the height of the door, where a lot of the weight of the door is being borne mostly by that top hinge, and that top hinge is actually quite low. So arch top doors are problematic. Well, LCN's got a solution for this. The width of this drop plate, about 12 1/4 overall width. I'll hold it upside down. Overall height of this is about 11" over here. And then at the side closest to the hinges, it looks like it's closer to about 4 1/4. So this plate is non-handed. This can go either way. That's not a problem. This is called out as a right hand. And what happens here is you've got these 6 holes. Well, that's what's going to mount to your frame. Okay. The fastener package that's included includes all of these extra fasteners, and they need standard spec screw pack. I'm assuming that there's nothing in here beyond what you would need for a drop plate, and that would kind of make sense because those drop plates are going to have those 6 holes. Then you'll have your 4 holes drilled and tapped, and that's obviously for the body. I see no reason why this is not completely non-handed. The other part of this, because this is a 4111, which means it's a parallel arm mount, is this super cool parallel arm mounting bracket. Your parallel arm gets mounted right on down in here. So this also, well, this is where the problem is going to be. This is going to be a handed bracket. This is not, this is for, now, if they were to drill and tap 6 extra holes, this could be non-handed, but they didn't. So this is specifically for a right-hand mount. And what's neat about this is there's an arch to this. So this is going to be like that. And then where my hand is down here at the bottom is where the parallel arm bracket's going to be installed to. So that's what that's going to look like. It's a lot of extra equipment for a parallel arm installation. And you'll notice that that radius on there matches both of those plates. So this will get mounted to the soffit. This will get mounted to the door. Forgive me, I had said the frame. This is obviously being mounted on the door, this drop plate. I don't know any special consideration about the door, whether it has glass or some sort of raised molding. I don't know. The client just said, listen, I know the ST2480 is what I need, just order it. Overall length of the soffit bracket, about 7 1/4. Overall width, about 2 3/4. And then a generic height of that overall is going to be probably about 4.5". Okay, so that's really neat stuff. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Here is the item that we are looking at. Not much to see here, but this is a 4111 CNS cushion stop, dark bronze. It's a right hand and an ST2480. There are images that we have posted here. Let's take a look at those here. That's the label that this closer came identified as. There's your special bracketing and your template, which we're going to look at in a moment. The underside of the bracket, the components shown together for a right hand. And again, it's this that makes this handed. If you were to flip that over, you would end, I mean, you could make it work. You'll have to drill and tap holes. The plate alone. Next set of images. Slight little arch on that bracket. And then the final set of images. That's the face that's to the soffit. It's kind of what it's going to look like when it's all slapped together. Unfortunately, that's a lot of bracket, but, you know, that's the downside of arch-top doors. They do become, you know, if you're going to do arch-top doors, really look at floor closers. LCN doesn't make floor closers anymore. They did several decades ago. But that will allow you to carry the weight of the door and then use load-bearing intermediate pivots. You know, depending on this, who knows how wide this door is. It may not be very wide. A little close-up of what that's going to look like. And then your screw package. Now, the template. This is linked to down below, and it is included. Not anything here to look at that's going to be difficult to understand. Showing us what this looks like from a plan perspective. There's our bracket mounted to the face of the door. And then our parallel arm bracket mounted to the soffit, what they call the stop. 90-degree hold open and dead stop only. Dead stop only, delayed action optional. Okay. Yeah, so this configuration is clearly telling us you're going to get 90 degrees out of this, and that's all. Obviously, it's got everything to do with the arched nature of the header coming in conflict with the closer arm. It's clearly what it is. I don't know what the hard stop would be, but they're telling you it's 90 degree. So that dimension from what they call jam line with an asterisk, door edge, I usually think of that as the vertical axis of pivoting, but they're saying door edge. So from the edge of the door to the center of this parallel arm bracket is 10.5 inch. So that's going to be really important for you to be able to measure that distance. But 9 3/16 hold open or dead stop is going to be over to these first set of holes here. So that 5/16 is going to be the difference. So 9 3/16 over to these first two holes, that'll be relatively easy to measure over. Then you've got the rest of the dimensions here. Obviously, laying these out is going to be something they don't give you vertical dimensions for. You'll have to get that laid out and just mark it off on the face of the door by hand. Then you get they give you a reference point for the closer holes, but they're already tapped in the plate, so you don't need to measure those. So what is it that you know? You know, well, to me, it's not super clear. I would prefer a better reference, but they're showing this line as the center line of this bracket as well. So you're going to be 10.5 inch from the jam line over. Yeah, locate plate and shoe from center line of offset pivots if used. Yeah, so you're going to be to the center of that plate, 10.5 inch. That first hole is going to be 9 3/16 over to here. I'm sorry, I had said 5/16 earlier. That's wrong. That is 1 5/16. So now you know where to mount the plate, okay, center line. You know where to mount the mounting bracket. You know what it's going to look like in cross section. They aren't indicating it, but they're showing that this is drawn right up tight to the face of the bracket. I might leave a little bit of relief between those two faces. You know, obviously the face of the bracket is going to come up to the face of the stop less that 1/4 inch because the bracket is, you have to kick it back a 1/4 inch here is what they're saying, and that is because the bracket itself that you mount the PA to is the same width as the arched top bracket, is the bracket that goes to the soffit. And you need to so hold this back from the face of the stop, what they're saying is a 1/4 inch, which is likely the thickness of the plate. I've not put a caliper on it, but that's what that is supposed to look like. Okay, so hold this bracket back from the face of the stop a 1/4 inch is what they're saying. So now you know where everything is located. You know where, hold it a 1/4 inch back from the face of the stop, 10.5 inch over to the center line of that same bracket. Then you know where to position the drop plate to, 9 3/16 from the door edge. Special adapter for shoe and special drop plate required. Use adapter and drop plate for mounting hole dimensions, or calling this the adapter. Arch door and frame illustrated are an example. The actual frame and door may differ. Dimensions will remain the same. Closer size. Yeah, obviously they're showing us a left-hand closer, or what would be a right-hand reverse door. Minimum distance between two doors on the same jam is 5.5 inch. I think what they're saying here is if you have a communicating opening. Reinforcing is recommended, and if you're using offset pivots, you'll go to the center line, the vertical axis of pivoting. So there's that neat template. Okay. Now, back to the item that we're looking at. Below this video is a link here to the manufacturer's page, and from here, you can pull up not only all of the LCN products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, also a link to the manufacturer's website that is there, along with a link to the manufacturer's product catalog that we keep there as well. And then finally, on this page, we have several encyclopedic documents that are listed here. We have just historical information, older catalogs, things of that nature. Let's wrap up this video on camera.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
Now, in conclusion, if you have any questions on the LCN 4111 with the ST2480 type of application, arch door, parallel arm mount, or any other LCN product, please feel free to reach out to us. LCN is a culture of excellence when it comes to technical support. Their ability to expertly handle any sort of technical question sent their way is remarkable, in fact. Now, the industry in general has exceptional technical support, but that isn't the case with every manufacturer at all times. However, it does seem to be endemic under the Allegiant umbrella, whether it be Schlage or LCN or Von Duprin, and their sister companies, whether it be Ives or Falcon or Monarch or Zero, it's Glenn Johnson, etc. So don't hesitate to consider them. LCN is very often a go-to of mine. They do make it easy. They have an incredibly high-quality product and backed by exceptional technical support with the ability to apply their product in practically every application. It's very unusual where I can't use an LCN product for a particular job. There may be a double egress, extremely deep reveal that they can't do. There's something that we were talking about maybe half a year ago that I had to go to someone else, but I do think of LCN as a go-to. So if there's any questions on this or any other special application, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.
Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.